to give somebody listening a sex tip.
Ooh, I love a little sex tip.
A little sex tip, something that you've done that somebody could take, into their next endeavor.
Take to the grave.
Oh man, I do feel like the vulva is like a big flower, and like never rush entering the vulva. It's like let the vulva engorge you. Like let the vulva take you.
I'm gonna suck you into this pussy. Just take it slowly. You're gonna enter it.
Hey girl, you trying to hit this?
Oh, you know exactly what I need.
Happy Tuesday, you filthy fucking stoners. It's your girl, Jamie Lee. What?
I was just gonna say, what the fuck is up? What the fuck is up with my brain today, bitches? It's Emily. How we doing?
This week we have a very special guest, and we just did a show together. We have comedian Janelle Draper.
Ooh,
Thank you.
From Boston.
All the way from LA in Miami.
Yes, I'm pumped to be here.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
We did a show, was it Friday?
Wednesday night.
It was a Boston comedy show. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. You had some crazy shit. I hated the audience there.
The audience sucked.
They did.
The audience sucked.
You were amazing, and this is before I even knew Emily was Emily.
It's her laugh.
And also she was giving me the above the head claps, I'm pretty sure, just making me feel less alone at times where I would like do a dirty joke or I was like, hey, anyone. And then Emily's just there and I'm like, yes, I was like, this girl gets me. And then you're like, that's my best friend and podcast partner. I'm like, makes sense.
Like, I fucked the rest of the audience. I'm just performing for you now.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I think more comedians should do shows for just me.
That could be a funny template.
Or
like
they hire you. Like you're a plant.
Yeah. No, but comedians don't make money. So like my prices are high. It's like $5,000 a night.
Shut up.
Wait, do you do that?
She's
No,
lying.
I will.
Oh, okay. I was
do
like,
it.
damn. Is that why you have such a nice place here? Like,
You
film
maybe I
this
have to get
shit?
in the escorting business.
I know. What's it like in Miami, dude?
Whoa, escorting. I'm just laughing at people's jokes.
I know you're talking about like literally. Oh, fuck.
I'm not a prostitute or a doctor.
Yet.
I could be a doctor one day.
You're like the first sex worker comedian. When someone pulls out a dick, you're like laughing at it. Like, is this thing on? Doot, doot, doot. And then you just blow it.
That's what I do in bed. I guess I just do crowd work with like the men I fuck.
I talk into their dicks like they're microphones.
That's fun.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm about to give them head. I look them in the eyes, and then I'm like, hey, what's up? and I just go like
guy.
this. I love just like making them go like this when they're soft.
I'm like, oh man, tough crowd.
Yeah.
Viagra.
So what happened to you on stage at your show?
Oh,
We were at the Improv. We were at the Dania Improv in Dania Beach, which is like next to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. I wonder if I gave that guy like too much power when I have this joke about it's a joke about like having chlamydia and I'm like, but don't worry, I tested positive. Or I'm like, don't worry, I tested myself. I'm clean. But it's been a busy day. Like I say, like how I test myself in the morning. I'm like, but it's been a busy day. And then I'm like, if you don't want to take my word for it, ask my Uber driver. And then this guy, I'm like, he gave me 5 stars. Or he gave me a tip. I gave him 5 stars. And he was like, woo. So he was like into that. And I'm like, there's my Uber driver. And that got a laugh. And then I don't know if he was offended by me calling him my Uber driver or what, but
He's like, I work for Lyft.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bitch.
seriously. Yeah. And then he just, the next couple jokes I did that he wasn't into, he was just like, next comedian, next, as if I was just like a TV show. He was just like, or like he was like swiping me in real life. Like, next. Yeah.
Let's change the channel.
To the left.
Next
no.
comic. I could not imagine being on stage and hearing someone yell next comic.
Yeah. So I whipped him a new one. And then he took his douchey little red wine as we're sipping our red wine, but we're ladies and he's some fucking weirdo.
He's a cuck.
He's a cuck.
We're
Total.
classy broads.
Yeah, we're classy. Wicked pissa.
I love it.
There we go.
So he starts walking up to the stage and I was just like, really, like, what the fuck are you gonna do, dude? Like, security? Or I don't know. I sort of like blacked out a little bit. You might remember better than I do because you were watching it, or maybe not. I don't know, Emily.
I was in the bathroom.
Oh, shoot.
I had to pee really bad.
Damn, I could have used you as backup.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just remember I was like, you know what? I'm gonna double down on the filth and leave them on some filthy jokes. I think he wasn't into that. And then I kind of I rallied the audience behind me and I was just.
But he approached you on stage. Like he was going to fight
came
you.
up.
He wanted to Will Smith you?
I don't know. what he was trying to do. He was like shrugging. And I'm like, you fucking douche. You're a big perv. I don't know. It's just like,
You pedophile.
Yeah.
This dude likes kids.
Oh, that would have been good.
I was like outing him. And outing him, I don't even know. I was just like giving him every insult I could think of in the book. And yeah, and then I cried all night. No, just kidding.
You can't. Was that at the end of your set?
It was like, I think I still had time. I had like 3 minutes left and I was like, I want to get off, but I was like, I'm not going to. I'm going to stay here. And yeah.
Is it bad? Like, I thought I didn't do well. I definitely thought I bombed because I was like saying jokes that usually get like laughs, but it was an older crowd and an uptight white crowd.
Yes.
So if you get like an uptight rich white crowd, they're like don't want to laugh.
They were so angry. I was laughing and they were turning around in their seats to glare at me. I was like, I'm at a comedy show to have fun,
People
dude.
shushed her.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And they were like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I'm just enjoying myself, man. It was really
just trying to
weird.
live.
And the same thing happened at Jeff Ross's show because we went Friday night to see Jeff at Dania, and we all took shrooms.
Oh,
so we're all on mushrooms, and so our laughs are really loud, and like we're laughing at everything.
Yeah.
And I just watched everyone like turning and glaring at us for laughing, and I'm like, y'all are silent. Like we're not. I feel like white people go to events and they like clap,
Like a golf
like,
clap.
Yes.
and like and they're just like okay, but they're not used to just like letting loose and having
loose.
fun.
Can we show some enthusiasm?
Yeah. Like you took the night off. You're getting 2 drink minimum. Like, what are you there if you're not having a good time?
Yeah.
So true.
I asked some lady if her daughter was a whore. I was like, have you fucked your kids up yet? And then she just looked at me and I go, so your daughter's a whore? And then she got really mad. And
Probably because her daughter's a whore.
and no one
Like, how'd
liked
you know?
and no one liked that I said that. No one was like, haha.
I thought that was funny.
And I was like,
You're like,
you
I'm
guys are boring.
joking. Was she in the front? That's another thing.
Yeah.
If you're in the front, you're fair game.
Yes. And
I
they were
agree.
talking the whole time. I remember Brian had to like, apparently she said Brian was like, just sat there and waited for them to stop.
Yeah, like a school teacher.
Yes.
Like,
I literally, I stopped and I just look at them and I go, are you guys talking right now? And then they just like kept going. I'm like, okay, good conversation. And I'm like, fuck these dudes. And I kept going. They turned around. They were like, what the fuck? And I'm like, stop talking at a comedy show. You're front row.
what are you doing?
Your back is turned to me as
it
a
pissed me
comic.
off. And I don't know like the etiquette where like I'm not a comedian, but I'm also in the comedy scene. I wanted to be like, shut the fuck up or get out. But then I don't want to be like the annoying heckler during the show. So it's tough.
It is a weird balance. I feel like they almost don't realize it's a live performance. The audience, they just are like, oh yeah, it's almost like I keep thinking that they feel as if they're watching a show, like a TV show, and they can just turn their back and eat. But it's like the more you give us, it's a 2-way street. It's a like communicate. What is it? Like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Like if you're not feeding me anything, I'm not gonna feel as comfortable to have fun. Then you're not gonna have as much fun. It's just like, why would you want us to feel on edge? I think like insecure small men. I mean, that's what I felt like with that other guy that we both hated in the front. Because anytime I did a dirty joke, I mean, I have a really funny dog fucking joke that's highbrow, but he kept shaking his head like, oh, it's like really, or any other sex joke. And I'm like, yo, where do you think you came from? Like, you think you came from a fucking what is it? Like stork? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that what they're called? Storks?
Yeah.
Oh, cute. I haven't said that word
No,
so
my
long.
lips just like vibrated against each other. I had like a weird texture thing. So
Oh no.
yeah.
I was like, what was that?
It felt weird.
Yeah, crowds are weird, man. That guy yelled at me. I said, I did like a crowd work piece or something. And I was like, what joke was it? I was just, I say something like, whatever happened to pussy power? Like in 2023, it's just pussy on a platter.
That's a good line.
And I was like, I'm trying to get my rent paid. I'm like yelling, like doing like aggressive shit. I was like, I live in Miami. Who's trying to pay my fucking rent? And he literally goes, he just yells, get a fucking job.
You're like, you're looking at my job, bro. This is my job.
I did say that. I go, this is my job. I'm doing stand-up. I go, it doesn't pay well. I go, I don't even know if I'm getting paid right now. But it's okay. I'm having a good time. And I just like brushed it off.
That was a great one.
But inside, I was like, you piece of shit. I'm going to think about that later.
I feel like if you heckle comics, you owe them $5 after the show.
At least. I did a mic one time in fucking Atlanta where, that was actually pretty crazy. they'd put your Venmo handle up. It was at the Funny Bone. Not Funny Bone. I'm totally blanking. Oh, Punchline, Atlanta Punchline. And they put your Venmo up on the screen and then you do your set. And people were like getting like this one comic in front of me. He's like a younger dude. He's like, I'm waiting for my Venmo app to go off. And like, I thought he was being kind of annoying about it, but he kept saying it to the point where it was like, cha-ching. And he's like, oh shit, thanks dude. And some dude in the front Venmoed him $100. So
Holy shit.
I come up there.
That's more than sometimes people get paid to do a show.
A weekend gig that you drive hours for. Yeah, he did it like in his hometown at a mic. And so then I go, oh, that's actually, I was over here judging him like, what a weirdo. And then I'm like, actually, a smart guy. So I went up there and I'm like, yo, where's my money? Am I getting money? And then the guy after came up and gave me $100 in cash.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, damn, okay. So I felt like so great. And then, I don't know, it's just, you never know. Sometimes we just ask for it. Like
You always have to ask.
You always got to ask. Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Exactly. Every question you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's very true.
So you might as well just
true.
like put it out there.
That's why you got to ask, is your daughter a whore? You know?
Yeah.
Because she might be.
It's a good question.
I was like, if my mom was a cunt like you, I would have acted out too. All right. Like, what the hell? It's crazy. But the rest of the weekend went really well.
Yeah.
You featured for Jeff Ross?
I like technically emceed because Ed featured.
Okay.
But I passed
yeah.
the mic to Ed. Ed Larson's super funny, Jeff's cousin. And so I did like 10, 15 up top, passed it to Ed. Ed did like 20 and then handed it to Jeff. Jeff did like an hour, which was amazing. But yeah, you could tell they were like real comedy fans, came for Jeff, supported all of us. I didn't feel like so out of sorts. I think what went wrong Wednesday is that, Nick Giasulo, really funny comic who put on the show, had like 10 days to like put it together. So I think there was some sort of like, there were some comps involved. I think there weren't like real comedy fans, more like, let's just go out and see what it's like. Yeah. And versus people that like paid tickets, put in their calendar, came out for fun time, like Jeff's shows. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got so upset. I'm still dealing with like some friend shit because I told everyone who was close to me knows I haven't been on stage in a year and a half and knows how like mentally why I got off stage and like where I was at. So it was a big deal for me to come back on. And I was like, listen, everyone come to my first show, which was like the Thursday prior. And then if I have 4 more shows in between that, you don't have to come to any of those, but like come to Wednesday. Like Wednesday's the big one. I even bought some people's tickets.
That's so nice.
So that they could go. I sent Emily $100. I was like, get everyone drinks.
Oh my God.
Just because it meant a lot for them to be there. And I come off stage after not feeling good about that performance. I was like, this is important too because it's showing everyone at the Improv, like, I'm a comedian and I'm in the area and hopefully I get booked in other stuff. And if I don't do well, that looks bad. But at least I got people to buy tickets and stuff. And like it shows I can bring people.
Totally.
And I walk out at the end of the show and half of the table was gone. And like somebody didn't even like text me.
Frustrating.
And say goodbye and say like you did great, nothing. And this is someone who was close to me. And I was like,
what up, dude?
This sucks. So I'm like still dealing with that because I like came off and it was like going at your graduation when you look out in the crowd, your parent isn't there.
Yeah.
And they like try to minimize it, being like, well, I don't understand why you're mad. I'm like going through stuff. And I'm like, you know, my childhood, that was abandonment. Like you just triggered all of my abandonment on a big night. You're not going to show up. I told everyone like, save this night. Save it for me. We're going to hang out after. We're going to get drinks.
Oh, I didn't know.
And all that stuff. That's why I got hammered.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's so hard when you want people to show up and you feel like I'm not even asking for too much. Like that's the cool thing about stand-up is like what means something to us and like what's our value at this time or our work is like a fun night out of laughs. Like all we want to do is bring happiness in our own way, entertainment, escapism, like levity, and come on, just at least stay to the end and be like, that was amazing, or I gotta run, I'm so sorry, or just
text me.
Yeah, or just run to the text you, run to the green room, give you a little kiss on the cheek. You were so great. I gotta run. Like I've had friends do that where they're like, I almost was like, were you actually there? Like, oh, I was there. You did great. I just had to run. I'm like, okay, well, thanks for coming. But also it feels like there's no closure. I feel you on that. It's like, it's almost like a, what is it? When you have a one night stand and they just like leave before you can even like get, I'd be like, they're fucking gone. Like you're just like over patting the bed.
Are you like fuck and then immediately immediately they get up and start putting their clothes on. You're like, what happened? I'm confused. I thought we had a good time here.
Let's at least have breakfast. Let's at least have an English muffin together. Like,
I did that to a guy last month.
Did you?
Yeah.
What?
I would do it again, actually.
Really? Did he not care? Some guys like don't care and get turned on by that.
That was definitely like a one night stand.
It was a one night stand.
So you go into it, you know it. That's different. I feel like then like having an expectation versus reality always sucks.
If I fuck you, I fell in love with you already. It could be one time, but if my body's like, I love
with you. Yeah.
Do you want to get married?
It's not even our fault. It's the fucking oxytocin hormone that like gets released, and so whenever we,
And the less I have sex, when I have sex with you, it means more. Now I'm like, I just gave my body to you and I don't give it to anyone. You better respect me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like the quality over the quantity, and you're like saving yourself for that moment. And I don't know.
Are you in a relationship?
I am actually. Oh, did you meet Drew there that night?
I think so, yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
I never know. I'm like, this could be the guy she's fucking. They could be dating. Like, they could be
That's
married.
so
I don't know.
true.
I think you had a joke about like fucking your dentist or something. And I was like, is this your dentist? And you're like, no, this is my boyfriend. I was like, okay.
So who's the dentist?
Does he know about the dentist?
I have a great dental plan, you guys. No. That's just a funny joke about never had I ever had a cavity, and then put that in my Bumble bio, and a dentist messaged me saying, sure you do bend over, which is a true story.
Shut the fuck
great.
up.
And that's a great opener.
And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I met my soulmate on Bumble. Like versus like, because I got it. It's funny is in real life, I got super turned off and I was like, ew, report block. And then I was like, a night or two later, I'm like, I was actually a pretty funny line. Why did I do that? Like, so I just switched it around as a joke. But then the joke is I'm dating my dentist, but I'm not obviously actually. But yeah, Drew's great. We actually met at a show.
No way.
Wait,
was he a fan?
Is he a comic?
Oh no, he's like a regular normcore like civilian, believe it or not. Like I try dating comics, doesn't ever go over well for me.
We love comics and it's so bad. The only guys I've been attracted to in the last like year have been comedians. And I'm like, I can't fuck you, but I want to, and I'm thinking about it.
But so the funny thing about how Drew and I met, my boyfriend now, is I was actually featuring for Brian Glowacki and at the Wilbur.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I was like so excited, like such a historic venue, and I felt like my wedding because I had like 200 family and friends come out. Like I was like, everyone come out. Like I promoted it big time because I was trying to help Brian sell out, and it's 1,100 seats.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
And he rented it out, so we were getting a good, little cut of like what we were bringing in. But so I helped by bringing a ton of people, but Drew was in the audience. And so it was kind of an epic moment because it was like one of my career highlights at the time was getting off that stage and being like, hell yeah, I just did like 20 minutes at the Wilbur. Like what a dream. Mm-hmm. And then he slid in my DMs with like a cute little like call back to one of my jokes. And I was like, okay. And then, but I was like, oh, you're too young. Like you're 26, whatever. And then he shows up at the after party at Rock Bottom across the street at the theater district in Boston. And I was like, oh, who are you? Like I was immediately like, okay, I'm into you. Like I underestimated you because he saw me on Bumble and I didn't swipe back on him, but he swiped on me and then slid in the DMs because I had my bio. And always, ladies, guys, whatever, always have your bios in your apps.
Like apps.
Your IG.
Your
sorry, your
Instagram.
handles in your bios.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. I'm like half asleep because then people will go the extra foot, the extra
The extra foot.
We're tired.
the extra foot, the extra step to get in touch with you. So I don't know, it really worked out well. And
That's
it was
so cute.
So he's a Boston boy.
Yeah, he's a Boston boy.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
And then you guys moved to LA together?
So he's still living in Boston. He's in Southie because he does commercial real estate and he's a broker and he everything's right there. Mm-hmm. And so I recently lost my day job after I moved out to LA for it. So I was like, I can't have you moving. Like I was like, I'm the one unemployed. I'll stay in LA, but I just kind of literally go back and forth a lot, month to month out there. So just kind of nomad life.
How long has
that's
it
so
been?
nice.
When was the Wilbur?
It's coming up on a year. That was last June.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited about
so
it.
That's really
impressive.
cute.
Like people dream about being at the Wilbur.
They do.
Yeah. I mean, all thanks to Brian. He's a good guy. Like he's doing
so
it
great.
again. He's
Really?
doing it again in new material. Like he's insane. He's like pumping out brand new hours every year. Like he's
shit.
fucking Bill Burr. Like
He's
I'm really
so
impressed.
good.
How
And
does he do that?
And being able to like sell at the Wilbur, he doesn't have like a social media presence either. So like people are there for your comedy.
Totally.
It's not even like stranger, like it's people who know you locally and like want to see you and have heard of you, and he's like built a name for himself. In a couple of shows, I did the Haha, which I did with Jeff Ross.
Oh, hell yeah.
In LA like a year and a half ago in the summer, and then I did the Bad Bitches Brunch at the Improv. Like I did some like big shows like randomly without getting up in between it all, really.
I don't know how you did that.
And I don't know.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Podcasting helps a lot on stage.
You're also naturally funny and confident and like good vibes. So it's also, I feel like half of it is like, do you want to hang with this person you're doing the show with too? It's like so many people that do comedy are like assholes
or not
insecure
social.
Or like not well adjusted, not like funny, but like really like unwell. And you're like, can you like actually try to like be happy and then bring your shit? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are like, you're like checking in. You're like, should this person be here? So it's, you know what I mean? When you find someone that's like funny and chill and like somewhat like normal and like takes care of themselves, it's like, you want to be around them. There's so many unhealthy people in comedy.
There's so many unhealthy people.
They try to drag you into their shit, and like, I'm just like, you gotta put on their Teflon like boundary guard to like really protect yourself.
You have to know who you are. Like you literally have to clear your energy, set your energy, set the intention.
The shit out, like tinctures, rock crystals.
I bring crystals in my pocket and I hold them while I'm on stage. And
that's great.
One that are for clear thinking and communication. And like I have one that's like for business. It's like a business crystal. And so basically it helps you get business deals basically. And I held those 3 in my hand while I did my last show, the first show I did, Coming Back, and I killed it. It was so good. It was a great show. It was beautiful. Like watching that, I just felt so in tune and I was comfortable and the audience was great. So the crowd work was great. I was thinking quickly.
Right. If you're comfortable, they're comfortable.
Everybody's been pissing me off lately. I don't know if I'm just getting my period or like
the what it is.
Really?
It's the women hormones.
Something must be going on. Like, is Mercury in retrograde?
It is.
Oh, there you go.
Mercury's in retrograde. And there's a solar eclipse. So that energy lasts for like a while.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Lots of fighting. Lots of, I don't even know.
Not with you guys, right? Because you have a good thing going.
Yeah, not with us.
Okay, you looked at her like a lot of fighting. I'm like, but separate
a lot
friends.
Of fighting. No, I'm just kidding.
Like with your other like groups
You're
of
gonna
friends.
leave. I'm just gonna beat the shit out of
lately.
her.
Okay,
not to me.
But I was actually really impressed with what you guys have because it's a tough dynamic. Like roommates, business partners, best friends. Like I'm already just like, damn, these girls have their shit together. They obviously like
not at all.
No, we do.
I feel like you
not at all.
No, and I feel like you do because you must have like good communication skills. You must have like good like honest transparency with one another because I feel like to be doing so well and also roommates, like you got to be doing something right.
Once a month,
good boundaries.
We meet. We have all of our friends watch, and then Emily and I just go head to head and beat the shit out of each other.
I want a ticket. I want to come next month.
And we get it all out right there.
You should film that shit.
People make bets.
I feel like we should do that.
We should.
Is that why there's a huge hole in that wall over there?
Yeah. No, that was me. That was my
head straight through.
I was like, you won't do the dishes. Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, it is all about communication.
It's not. It hasn't been easy.
No,
for sure. And there's been some low times.
Yeah.
Like I mean, speaking just for myself, I grew up where communication was not a thing. It was being hit or being yelled at.
Are you Irish?
I am.
I knew it. Fuck, that's so sad. I'm sorry, Emily. It's such a bummer.
No, but so I wasn't raised with learning about how to speak to people or how to speak my mind, because if I spoke my mind, I would get my ass beat.
Damn.
So now I'm like learning as an adult how to speak to people.
I'm like, you can talk to me. I'm like, what's going on? And she like freezes and she can't say anything. And I'm like, communicate with me.
Like, maybe if you hit me, I'd be able to talk more. I don't know.
But you guys do that once a month. So it's like, bam, bam, talk, Emily. You're like frozen.
No, and then for me, like my thing is like things will build up, and because I'm trying to always like I'm trying to be a good person, so I'm trying to let things go and I'm trying to communicate. But then if it doesn't get solved and time passes, the longer it passes with something being addressed, then one day it just comes out. It's usually like an emotional day. If something else happens that triggers it, so now I'm just overall triggered, and then it kind of like I'm a dumper.
Dumpers, like the kitchen sink. Here's everything that's been pissing me off.
But it's like I will discuss what's bothering me, but if I feel like if it doesn't get handled, this is not just with Emily. This is just in general with all my friends and like life of how I handle situations. So that doesn't do well with like people who don't know how to communicate. But we've been trying really hard to work on our communication skills. And so we'll just like sit down, we'll have days and we'll be like, hey, I'm sorry I said it that way. And like there's times Emily will be like, hey, I didn't mean to say it that way. That was kind of mean of me. And I'm like, oh, you're good.
Yeah.
But there's days where I'm in a bad mood and she says that and I'm so angry.
That she's saying it?
But then like that if she said something a certain way.
Right.
Because of whatever I'm going through, I'm perceiving it that way.
Right.
And then she'll be like, hey, like some days I'm like, oh, it's okay. But then she communicates more and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry I did that. And then I'm like, okay, cool. She communicated with me. I didn't have to think about it. And like, I didn't have to like fester. So we've gotten really good with both of us being able to kind of do that with each other and learn each other's like tells. Like like we can see when somebody's down. Like she knows how to read me. She'll be like, you were off today. And I'm like, how'd you know?
You are a good reader because she read me in the like every little thing. I feel like you're very observant.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Getting off the elevator, you're just like, you're quick on seeing what the actions are. So it does make me think that you're someone who like internalizes and takes things in and like, I could be wrong. I don't know.
I definitely internalize a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I think, Jamie, are you more like, do you like, what do you do? Do you internalize
I constantly communicate.
Okay, so that's good.
So I communicate so much, and then like other people aren't used to communicating, and this is even outside of Emily. Like I told you, I was having issues with other people, and the issue is communication because I'm communicating and I'm doing that, but I'm not getting that in return, and that's when I'll like get angry and just be like, what the fuck? You hurt me. Yeah. And then people get mad at my reaction. I'm like, but you hurt, like you were doing all these things that I communicated were my boundary, that I communicated I didn't like, and that it made me feel X, Y, and Z when this happened. So you choosing to do that, like my reaction's valid now.
Right.
But we're also learning like times where even though our reaction is valid, sometimes we shouldn't have reacted in that way and how we can improve and work on how we speak to others.
Yeah.
Totally. Because even if the reaction is valid, because every reaction we have is valid, right? Because it's like if we're feeling it, we can't, I don't know, right? Every reaction is valid in a sense, but it's like, can we expect certain people to understand that those reactions are this impactful to us or something? Like sometimes I also wonder, everything we feel is valid, but we can't expect other people to have that same understanding of like something simple, like someone leaving you at a show and you having the abandonment issue. Your friend might not ever know what an abandonment issue is and may go like,
but they knew
what
they know all of that.
They know
deeply,
but with themselves too.
I don't know. Yes and no. I'm starting to realize that person has like more healing to do. And so they can only reach me where they're at. But that also means like, unfortunately, that I have to step aside.
Yeah, because you put people on ice, pause for a minute.
I gotta put you on pause because like if you're not actively doing that work and it's a pattern. Yeah. Now by me staying your friend and staying close, I'm disrespecting myself.
It's hurting. It's hurtful for you. That's a good point. Like,
but I'm also struggling with like, I'm such a cutoff. I'm like you're done to me. Wow. Like you're not like. Move on. I protect my peace very well because we're from Boston and our family life, we never have that. So like our space is very important to us and sacred and stuff.
Physical space too. I can tell why it's so nice in here. It's like a very welcoming little puppy.
Yeah, we love to have people over, I guess, but
sometimes
not anymore. But it is what it is. It's a lot of communication. We talk a lot about that on the podcast of like mental health and what we're going through and like the ins and outs of everything. It's not so like you say, oh, you guys look like you're very put together.
No, ma'am.
It's the complete opposite, but we're doing our best.
Yeah, no, I mean, but what does even put together mean? Like, I feel like we need to even change what that definition is because I feel like what you just said is like pretty fucking put together. That you're like, hey, this is bothering me. Oh, shoot, I didn't know. Or like you're both taking accountability. You're both going through the process together. You're both like aware of your mental health journeys and aware of your friends and like what their journeys are. So I feel like, yeah, that's fucking put together. Like that's as put together as you can be. Like, and you know, I just feel like I know how hard it is to like be a transplant in a new city with a friend you grew up with or like we're in that city with. And you're like, how do we build our new lives here together, but also have our own interests outside of our business and our house? It's like a lot of things, a lot of layers. So it's pretty impressive because it is impressive. Like it's so much easier to see like the good traits on the outside. You guys are all like, no, like laughing, but I'm like, no, this is pretty fucking impressive and pretty healthy.
I literally,
you know what I mean though? Like,
yeah.
I don't out.
I put on my story the other day, like, of me crying. I was just like a mess. And I haven't in a while. And all people see is the highlight reel on social media. So it's
I like
easy.
that you were real. I like that you were real about that.
Yeah, so I was just
love
like,
crying
I'm
on
going
my
through
story.
shit. Just so y'all know, like, I've had multiple people in the last week say, like, oh my God, you're doing so well. And you're all this stuff. And I'm like, you have no idea the battles I'm mentally going through.
Really?
And it, like, looks all good. But I'm letting y'all know, like, life can look good, but I'm still sad. Like, you know?
Yeah.
I can't do too much of that, though. But it was like, I need people to realize I'm real because I've been feeling like I'm always like catering to other people's emotions and so people think that I have it together and that I don't feel things. And it's like, no, when is somebody gonna like make sure that my emotions are okay?
Oh, I've been feeling that way too.
Me too. I talked about that in therapy today.
I need
Really?
to go back to therapy.
What'd you talk about?
That exact same thing of just how I've been so in my head, and she recommended I increase my Lexapro, and I go, well, it's funny because I'm actually getting off of it. So whoops. And like I've been on for 2 years and I'm like sick of feeling numb or coasting. I want to figure out what my baseline is again. Like I literally forget what my benchmark is. Like when I went on it, I was spiraling out. I'm glad I went on it, but now it's been 2 years and I'm like, is it even working? And she's encouraging I increase, and I'm like, I want to get off, maybe hit rock bottom, but then see where I go from there, like, or at least be encouraged to like work out again or something. But it's mostly because I'm always attuned to everyone else's emotional needs. And I learned I'm good at doing that because as a kid I did that with my family, and then I guess I'm still doing that. And unfortunately, I lose myself in the process, and then I overanalyze and I ruminate on things of how other people are feeling, but I never check in on myself.
Yes.
And that's very much what kids do when they grow up. She told me today. I go, why do I do this, Dina? And she said, well, for one, you maybe came out of the womb that way. And for two,
That's hopeful.
yeah, right. You can't fix that. For two, like, if you grew up with your parents in distress, you will do whatever you can to save your parents, because that's the scariest thing for a kid. If your parents aren't steering the ship, you want to make sure they're okay so that in return they can protect you. Because as a kid, your parents protect you. So if they're spiraling out and you're trying to protect them so that they can ultimately protect you, you sometimes can never lose that habit as an adult, even though you no longer need your parents, your whatever habits are so ingrained in going like, is everyone okay? Is everything gonna be all right? Is everyone okay? Like making sure everyone's okay all the time to ensure that you're okay. But actually we forget we have agency as fully fledged human adults now. We take care of ourselves. We make sure we're okay. But
That's hard.
Yes.
Right? I don't want to do that.
Oh my gosh, I had a breakdown about that. And I think within the past month.
Sorry, cheers that we all do that.
Cheers to
because it's just
that.
like makes me feel good to know I'm not alone in that.
Hell no, girl. We're all in this together. No, I feel like that's like a codependent thing.
Absolutely.
And every
codependency.
relationship you have as an adult is just a manifestation of the relationship you had with your parents and how you felt in that.
Fixing that cycle.
So I'm a peacekeeper. I'm a mediator. I always had to ignore my own feelings to take care of others. I do that in my life now, which isn't a healthy thing to do, but I'm like, well, fuck, why does nobody care about how I feel? And it's like, well, maybe I'm not showing how I feel.
Right.
Maybe I have to stop being there for people so that I can actually be there for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've definitely done that too, where like I have some days and it's not often. It's like once a month.
Once every other week.
and like it'll be an emotional day where like 3 things hit at once in like 2 days, and that's like a big triggered period, and I'm like I'm just like venting in my own home, and Emily's like, all right, let me like make sure you're okay. And at the end I'm like, hey Emily, this also affects you too, like, are you okay? Thank you.
I don't know.
And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, how can I help you? And then she's like, I'm good. Or like, I don't know. And I'm like, I want to be there for you too, because I recognize that you're being affected also by my emotions, even though you're helping me. Like this is still an emotional thing for you to deal with. And so being able to pull myself out of my own feelings to be like, hey, but it is just like
it's tricky.
It's hard.
And you hit the nail on the head, Emily, when you said it's codependency, because the definition of that is essentially like putting someone else's needs above your own and losing oneself. And look, women also are just kind of ingrained to do it, which is really shitty. It's like always catering, always like serving people, like, all that bullshit that goes back like generations ultimately being the hunters and gatherers, right? And like shit like that. I really do feel like it's baked into a lot of our ancestral trauma. And it's interesting though. It's cool you realize that, Jaime, that you're like, hey, Emily's is okay, because Emily, I'd be like you where I'd go, oh my God, you're upset. I'd want to jump in and save and caretake.
And she does.
But sometimes you actually mostly and that's the codependency. Unfortunately, what we need to do is sit back and go, oh, I feel for you, but I can't get sucked in and feel the way you feel right now. I feel compassion for you, but I cannot feel anxious because you're anxious, or stressed because you're stressed, or because that's where we lose ourselves. That's like real.
Well, the worst part is though, a lot of those times when I'm going through that stuff and I'm emotionally upset, it's stuff that's affecting both of us. So Emily,
I wonder if you feel it more too, because Emily's more
exclaim,
quiet.
and then Emily goes in like a turtle, and so that together is hard, because then it's like, I'm a crying baby. Someone's going to attend to the crying baby.
Yeah.
But if you look like you're holding your shit together, I had someone the other day and they were like, how's Emily doing? Because I feel like she's doing good and like she's handling all this well. And I was like, she's not. I go, if she's not saying anything, it means she's internalizing it and there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I'm able to see that now. I used to get upset though. I'd be like, you're not giving me anything.
Because you can't mind read too. That's the thing.
Yep.
And so we've just grown so much. It's really crazy and beautiful to see like our confidence, how our first podcast episode.
You guys are fucking pros. I'm over here like, I'm nervous. Like,
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Not like really, but you know, it's just like, it's so funny how we look at ourselves is not how anyone else looks at us. Like,
Yep.
Like, I'm like, man, these girls are fucking cool. I'm so happy. Like, and, you know, I want to put my best foot forward. And I feel like that's like what we all do, right? We all underestimate our own strength and our own beauty, our own character to make sure other people are good, or am I doing good for them? But it's like when we can just settle in and like own our own self, that's when everyone wins.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I do the opposite. I think I overestimate my strength. I'm like, got
That's
this.
good.
And then I don't got this.
But that's better than, that's better. Better to have more confidence. You're going to do good in stand up.
Yeah. I was like, Emily, you'll be great. Emily's going up tonight. This will come out in a couple weeks, but she's going to go up tonight and just wing it. And just to get out there, I'm like, rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Once you understand how it feels up there and you have a good idea, you can take that into writing your set.
I have a set written. I don't think I want to do my set tonight. I think I just want to talk.
Yeah, but you could also just have the set too, like in your back pocket, on
Have
your
a
phone,
joke.
and back in the
Memorize one
Yeah.
or two jokes.
Yeah.
So you do some crowd work, you say a joke, and then maybe you end some crowd work.
Yeah.
And then end on a joke. Like you could just do something really
Yeah.
quick like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe don't totally ditch the stuff you wrote, because it'd be good to just like have on the stool or whatever, just because from own experiences, sometimes I'm like, it's going to be just like this. And then I'm up there and I'm like, so it's nice to have something in your, like a little ammo in your back pocket just to pull out.
Do you get blank? Like, does your mind blank when you're on stage ever and you forget your set?
No, not anymore. But I was just thinking about when I started out. But now I'm so good at what is it called? Separating my brain. Like I read that Jay Leno does this too, where it's like some of my sets I can just do like memorize while I'm literally like, Jay Leno could do an entire set and then count how many seats are like empty in like the theater or whatever. And I can do some weird shit like that too, where it's like I could say the whole thing and then meanwhile be like, so what am I gonna do for dinner after? Like certain jokes or sets just from doing it for so long. But
Yeah.
I definitely don't. But when I catch myself doing that, I try to shake out of it. And like I'm proud. I'm like, oh, I'm in autopilot zombie mode. Like I need to like reconnect.
Wake up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there are times where I'm just like, or I'm on this one joke and then I go, okay, what's next? Mostly now I just go, okay, that's next. I'm thinking about the next joke.
Oh.
These kitties are so
They're
cute.
so cute.
Maybe we should get into some dating.
Oh, some
Yeah.
dating.
Some dating convos.
Maybe you should give us some dating advice.
Oh,
Because you met a cutie.
I did.
You've been dating for a year.
How'd you trap him?
Wait, you want to know what was different about him that every other guy is that I felt like I sat back and kind of like Drew did the work, whereas every other guy I was like always doing extra. I felt like I was the one to kind of go, oh, I'll change his opinion, or I'll fix him, or I'll ask, I don't mind asking him out again. Or like, I am pretty like alpha and assertive in general when it comes to like dating. I don't mind just being like, let's go hang out.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever get embarrassed or nervous at like sending the first text or asking a guy out. It's not my issue. But Drew was the first one that like sort of chased me, if you will. And
I like that.
Yeah. And I think what was different about us, what else was different about us is that like on our like second date, we like shared everything. And I was like, and I think because I was moving to LA like the next day. So we got like, he met me at the Wilbur. We got 2 dates in. Then I was like, I'm going to LA for like, you know, a month or 2 and I'll be back sometime. And he's like, well, maybe we can hang out. I'm like, yeah, really? And I kind of just was like, did this, did that, just dated a toxic addict. I'm done with that. Like I put it on the table, which I never would. I was just like, fuck it. Cause I had tried so hard to be this perfect in a fucking whatever box person. And with him, I was just like low expectations, knew I was leaving. And I was just like, here's everything. And he was like, cool. I like all of that. And like literally went home that night. I didn't even know. He told me later, deleted his apps. And then we just chatted every fucking day for 5 weeks straight on the phone, FaceTime. And it was sort of like Love is Blind, but with the distance. And the only difference is that we had already met in person and made out once and knew there was an attraction. But then we had almost like a version of The Wall. In like Love is Blind, you have the wall, but we had FaceTime, but we couldn't obviously do anything physical. And we got really serious really fast because we were like
just getting to know each other.
All you can do is talk.
Yeah. So we'd bring wine on FaceTime and we'd play like Truth or Dare, 21 questions. We'd be like, what's your ideal living scenario? Do you want to have kids? Where would you get married? What are your biggest fears? Like I dug up all of my daddy issue shit. Like I brought everything to the table and he kind of just like ate it up and was like, I got you. And I was just like, whoa, you are well adjusted. You are secure. You are taking all my vulnerabilities in real good stride. And I just felt like he's a good egg. I was just like, he's solid.
I love that.
Yeah,
Good egg. I like that for you.
Thank you.
That's good too, because you met him at a comedy show, like your comedy show. And I hear a lot of women in comedy. I've heard like Whitney Cummings and Nikki Glaser and all these people talk about how like men get so much pussy from comedy, like a stupid amount of pussy, including mine. And but it's harder for women. Like I brought guys to shows and they've ghosted me after.
You were saying that actually. That's so insane. But also like fuck
I would call
them.
them out. I would call them out. It was a first date and I'd be like, so my date's here, and I do a whole joke about them, and some guys got so uncomfortable. Like they were like, I'm happy to watch you, but I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm like, if you're gonna date me and we're gonna do this, like I want somebody who wants to be a partner. I hope that I get a husband who's in entertainment and we can have a podcast together and have a company together and like or do comedy shows or whatever it is. You know?
That's the goal.
I'm with you on that.
It's refreshing to know that you met a man in your audience. You know what I mean?
And he's been to 5 comedy festivals with me.
Oh.
He like comes with, like we went to Alaska together a couple weeks. Like he a couple weeks ago, he is so supportive. He's so like, guys will come up to me and instead of being like he could be jealous or protective, he's like, you do your thing, babe. Like he fully trusts me.
I love it.
It's really cool because he's so secure.
hot.
He's so secure. And I'm like,
love that.
And it makes you want to like, I'm not going to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Because you're so secure.
I'm so on top of myself because I'm like, I have a fucking like rare, like I have such a golden little nugget here. I don't want to fuck anything up. And it was funny, but by the time we actually like finally had sex and like when we finally, after talking for 5 weeks straight, when we finally picked me up from Logan Airport, shout out Boston, East Boston, baby. And then he took me back to his little Southie apartment. We were already official, had already said, I love you.
Holy shit.
I've been there through like a long distance. Yeah.
But that's why it's like sort of like Love is Blind, because within 1 month, a little over 1 month, we had said I love you. We had said we're official. We had talked about everything we wanted, and then we were like, oh, now we get to have sex. Like we're like, we hope it's good.
Is great.
Yeah, it better be good because like we're in this. Like,
but
you
when
know,
your emotions in it is.
Yeah, and I was like, this is great because it was just great. But but that's the difference. I felt like if it wasn't long distance, maybe I would have hooked up sooner. And that's the bullshit that I didn't always want to believe, or I don't always want to be preaching because I'm very sex positive and everyone has their own journey and whatever. I've also had situations where I hook up with a guy on the second date, then we date for 2 years. But with Drew and I, it was definitely like an emotional, mental connection first. And it was so solid that everything else was just gravy on top or the whatever.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm starting to date again.
Yay.
Just
so tell me what you guys got going on.
Just like have fun and like I don't want to jump into a relationship and just see what's out there because I have done the thing where like I fuck you and then I'm like, okay, we're dating, and then we date for 2 years and like we're in love. I want to know like if we actually align from the jump. Like, do we want kids?
Yes.
Will we be okay living in like other countries or other states? Like, are you down to do what I want to do? Am I down to do what you want to do? And not find that out like 2 years into the relationship and be like, actually, I don't want to live with your parents in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
So many people wait until they're in the relationship and deep in it to have that conversation. And that's like the biggest mistake, because you have a good time with them, but you just wasted your time essentially because they're not aligned. Like, you're just comfortable.
All we have is time.
I'd rather be alone than be with somebody that I'm not aligned with.
That's our most precious commodity is time. Like, anything else you can just develop more of or whatever, but like time is the one thing that's like slips through the fingers. So yeah, I agree. Like, rather be alone than be, you know, just grasping for something that's just not right, but it just feels like, okay, I'm feeling this void, but it's like really just look at yourself and there's the void filler. Like, there's a void corrector right in the mirror. Like, you don't need this person.
No, you just need you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you're done with the bullshit and you're kind of like, here's my baggage, can you handle it? And then they're like, here's my baggage, can you handle this? And it's like,
absolutely.
I also like about the podcast, like I'll tell guys that are interested in me, you have to listen to the podcast. You have to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Otherwise, I'm not going out with you.
I love that.
And that way they get to know a little bit about me. They know what I'm about. And if they don't want me, they don't want me.
Yeah, you cut to the chase a little bit. And that's the same thing with bringing them to your show. It's like, let's save us some time. If you're not game from the beginning. And I think that's where a lot of men can get intimidated by, is if they have the other person in the limelight or getting attention. If they're not secure with their own selves, they'll never be secure with what you're doing.
I've been dating guys who support what I'm doing, and I date them and I realize they're not secure about what I'm doing. So they like want to support what I'm doing until they're in it. And then like we grow very quickly. Like, we're going through constant ego deaths and transformations. And every 3 months we're in a better place than we were before. Yeah. And so when you're like, I've dated a civilian, I've dated all civilians, and my issue with my ex was I'm like a risk taker, especially financially. The whole reason I have what I have is because I took big financial risks.
Love that.
And took the risk on myself. And so I need somebody who's aligned and thinks that way as well. They understand what it's like to take a risk. They're not afraid. If you have a 10-year plan or your 5-year plan includes you being at the same company, you're already not aligned with me.
No.
Wow.
Like, no. And I would be like, oh, let's do this. And he'd be like, oh, I've had this plan and it's very slow. And he was very frugal. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go to LA now. And then I'm going to go to fucking Spain. And then I'm going to go to this place. If you want to come with me, like, I just need to know you're on the same page. Like, I can help bring you into this world and we can build together, and you can quit your 9 to 5. You can do whatever you want.
You're offering them like the keys of the castle.
Exactly. And then he wanted nothing to do with it. He wanted his little life. And I was like, this is never going to work.
Yeah, some people just aren't built that way. And it's like, not one's better or worse. It's just like, what are you compatible with? Like, I'm with you. I'm ping-ponging all over the country. I'm like, yeah, this is how I live.
And your man travels with you and does things.
Yeah.
That's what Beautiful. I would need.
Yeah, it's nice. But yeah, not everyone's that way. And I have dated the more stubborn, like routine oriented, like can't get out of their own box. And it's like they are a little bit closeted in that way where they might not admit it, but they're frustrated that you have the creative freedom or the creative balls to go do what you want to do, or vulva, I should say. So I do think that's smart that you know that off the bat, that you're like, yeah, I can't be hanging with someone that's like not able to take risks emotionally, financially,
everything.
Yeah.
Life is all about risks.
Because then I start resenting you. You could totally have a 9 to 5, but internally I think you're a pussy. Like a lot of people don't want to hear that. I'm like, or not even like a pussy, but like there's different 9 to 5s. There's like entrepreneurial, and then there's like rat race,
corporate slave,
matrix type thing. And I want nothing to do that, because you'll never understand how my brain works. Like I worked my whole life to get out of that, and you're trying to stay in it. You're trying to like actually get me to be like, oh, let's actually settle down and we could do that. No,
we're just not compatible.
We're ramping up. We're ramping up.
If you're gonna be in the corporate America, you own the company. Like we're not working for somebody.
Calling all company owners. Ow.
But okay, what is your, if you had to give somebody listening a sex tip?
Ooh, I love a little sex tip.
A little sex tip, something that you've done that somebody could take, into their next endeavor.
Take to the grave.
Oh man, I do love. Okay, I think I have one for the men and the ladies.
Perfect.
for the ladies, it's just a simple, like, it's a come hither movement. It's like no one realizes it's like the more gentle stroking, like enter the vulva with your fingers and just it's like come hither. Like that's the best way.
Come here, little boy.
Yeah,
about to trap my cave.
Yes, come enjoy the little fucking whatever.
And a lot of guys don't do that.
Juice. They don't. The guys are like, yeah, it's like a fucking DJ, like disc jockey.
Chill. There's a lot of friction now.
Yeah.
Treat the pussy delicately.
Dude, I talk about that too a lot on stages. Like women have like water sexual energy and men have like fire energy. Like men like takes nothing to burn, bright, dies quick. Like women are like, we boil till we're spewing out of the pot, sometimes squirting out of the pot. It takes nothing.
Okay.
You know? So I feel like men need to like slow down their roll and like get to the rhythm of the woman, like realize that we don't just like bang, like it's a slow long con game. And like once you get the woman going, like focus all pleasure on the woman, and then when the more fun she's having, the more fun you'll have. So I do feel like the vulva is like a big flower, and like never rush entering the vulva. It's like let the vulva engorge you, like let the vulva take you.
I'm gonna suck you into this pussy. Just take it slowly. You're gonna enter it.
Trust the okay. My sister's a midwife, so I have so many facts about
Trust
this. Like
the vulva.
Trust the vulva. Even if you're like 80, you don't need lube. Like, I'm sorry, maybe quick fix lube, but like give it some time. You can have this gorgeous, big, blossomy, like watery, truly.
And speaking my language.
And it's not always like a lot of guys I feel like just will go like straight to your genitals. Like that's what it does. It's like, no, maybe I just need you to fucking kiss my neck for 5
whisper,
minutes.
yes.
Yeah. And then I'm fucking like a SeaWorld, you know, or just touch my tit. Like,
I'm like, you know what makes me wet? Like you whispering in my ear that you're proud of me.
yeah, exactly.
Just tell me I'm doing a good job. And then I'm like, whoa, I haven't heard that.
I never got this from my family.
Absolutely. And for the woman, or actually I shouldn't be saying men, whatever, it's all fluid. If you're trying to arouse a peni, I guess.
Whoever owns a penis.
A
peni, you could, my roommate told me this in LA. Shout out to Julie Kay. She's funny. She was like, this is the tip. This is the best hand job tip. You like stare him in his eyes and like spit on his dick and then just like take that thing, like 2 hands and just like go like this.
Just do the up and down, move up.
Move up.
Yep.
But I love balls.
I love balls.
I love balls. I feel like they're underappreciated.
They
always in the
are.
background, want to be cuddled. So I'm like, there you go. Like,
there you go, big guy.
I got you. Yeah, I give them
squishy.
a lot of ball attention, a lot of ball love.
Some people don't like their balls played with though. Have you ever met one of those? They're like, that's sensitive.
No, luckily not. I did like nibble a ball too tough one time. I was like, that's so good. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. He was like, ow. And I'm like, my bad. And then he never called me. And that makes sense, you know?
The first hand job I gave that dude like a sunburn. Like he was raw. And he was so afraid to tell me that I just made his dick raw. He's like, I was just so happy to get my dick touched. I didn't want to like embarrass you. And I was like, I want to learn.
Please
teach
We're in
me.
this together.
I literally, and I was like, okay, whip your dick out. We're going to do this together. Like, what should I do? And I like had him walk me through like how to like.
So you know the best.
How to like, you play with his dick, and it became way better, you know?
Who is this guy? Is he still around?
Oh, this is my high school sweetheart.
Oh.
Yeah, we did it for like 8 years. We almost got married, and
and
he lost his virginity. We lost our virginities to each other.
Are
He
you
was
guys
older.
friends still?
No, I mean like we follow each other on like my old account, and he like sometimes likes my stuff, but like he was dating a girl after me we did it for 8 years, and then he dated someone for like 7 years.
Serial monogamous.
Yeah,
That's a red flag right there.
I agree.
but
You can't be alone. So we asked a couple of weeks ago if anybody had any sex tips.
Okay.
And somebody wrote in a really good sex tip, and I thought I screenshotted it,
oh no,
but I can't find it.
Damn.
It was so long too. Okay, all right, this is totally different, not as good. Somebody said, you ladies asked about taking notes during porn. Mike, Adriano, and Belladonna taught me how to eat ass.
Oh.
I don't know who that is.
There's no context. I don't know who those people are, but apparently they're great at eating ass.
Do you eat ass?
I have.
Do you do it often?
I have a couple of times. I wouldn't say it's my favorite thing. I do it out of love. I enjoy my ass getting eaten. I didn't think I would, but it's happened a couple of times. I was like, oh, okay, this feels nice. I like a little butt play.
I like it when the
lights
are dark. Like there's like a neon sign and then like everything's dark. So you're not like seeing the details of my butthole.
Yeah.
Like I don't want you to be able to like draw my butthole like it's a fingerprint.
Yeah.
Like you know exactly how it looks.
You can see all the grooves.
I
and the little hairs sprouting out of the top.
I want you to be like, that's a butthole, but I can't see everything that's going on.
Yeah,
you know?
Jamie.
Because
Okay.
the last 2 times I got my ass ate, it was like broad daylight. And I'm like bent over my bed. I'm like, I know I missed so many spots shaving.
I feel like eating
But how
ass
do
is
you
a
like
nighttime
lifts up
activity.
a little like flap of hair and he's like,
But do they really care about the hair? Like, that's the thing that's so funny to me is biologically, hair is in specific places to protect us, but we're just like, gotta get rid of all of it. Like, for what? I mean, I subscribe to it too, but I'm like, sometimes like, why the fuck are we all doing this?
I don't like armpit hair, but you know what
I'm
I
with
have?
you. I don't like it either.
You know what I've come to like?
Like a little bit of hair down here.
What is it? A treasure trail?
Happy trail.
Happy trail. I think it's so hot on women.
Oh,
I love treasure
surprised
trails
you said
on
women.
women.
I thought you were gonna say men. Like,
It's hot on men too.
She said this today. She goes, I kind of like a happy trail. And I go, on yourself? And she was like, yeah, why not? And I was like, are you okay?
I just want a treasure trail that leads into a landing strip that's an arrow. You know where exactly where the fuck to go.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
You like happy trails in a bikini?
I think it's so hot.
Really?
And
Can
if
you
you
pull up
can
an
see-
image so we can see? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, like what girl did you look at?
I saw a TikTok and she like was wearing sweatpants. You know when you wear sweatpants that like kind of angles down towards like the vajay and it's high on the hips. She was dancing and it like revealed her happy trail. I was like, whoa, am I aroused right now by this?
Wow.
It was really attractive.
Dark hair?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was like dark brown. I was like, this is
It was
nice.
her happy trail. It was up to her belly button.
Yeah, up to her belly button.
And how much hair are we talking?
It was like a man. And I was like,
What?
this is attractive.
I wonder if she like purposely like put like
I think you're just
hair
gay.
plugs there.
I think I'm just gay.
Are you queer?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, hell yeah. Are you are you bi or?
I like pan. Like I like everybody. I don't care about
cool.
genitals.
I
We're
love
both
that.
pan.
Oh, fuck yeah.
What about
I love
you?
That. I've never really like hooked up with a girl. I was thinking like I'm
I
definitely.
was thinking about it.
I was like, yeah. No, seriously, like before I met Drew, I was like, oh yeah, like I feel like I would. Like I made out with like one girl in LA and I was like, oh, it's kind of fun. But I got like so in my head about it. And then I don't know.
Girls
I
are
don't know.
precious. So
Yeah,
I love women. And
are.
people are like, you're not bisexual because you haven't dated a girl. I'm like, I'm terrified to date a girl. Like, I would feel like I'd have to try so hard and give them so much. And I'm not in a place to do that. I'd want to receive. I just want to receive.
Wait, that's so funny because when I kissed that one girl, I thought like I was worrying too much about it. I was like, my anxiety and the rumination, the people pleasing is double with a girl than a guy. And I was just like, are you okay? And it's like, meanwhile, I was hammered, but I was like, are you good? He's just like, I'm fine. You can like barely stand. Like, you know, I was like worried about, it was both just like a consensual makeout, like in a freaking bathroom of Roosevelt Hotel. But,
typical.
you know, just a classic Friday night. But I was, well, I realized I was like, oh, I think I couldn't date a girl because I am such a like an overanalyzer. And sometimes, well, with Drew, it's really nice because he's just, I feel like he is just so solid and like emotionally simple. It's not to say anything bad. It's just like, he's very like, these are my feelings. And I feel like I'm so complicated that like, I almost feel like woman would just like double my, he's just like brings me down, grounds me.
Yeah.
Not to say there's not a grounding woman. That'd be great. I'm sure there's many, but I just feel like in my experience, I would definitely say I'm bi, even though, but then I also sort of feel like a poser because all I've ever done is like kiss two girls.
No,
I'm
you're
like,
not a poser. It's who you
Yeah,
are.
I'm definitely attracted to women for sure.
I'd rather date a trans woman than a trans woman with a dick. Like that doesn't have bottom surgery.
Oh.
Yeah. I like, cause I love women, but then I love dick. And so that's like, I get
fun.
best of both worlds. Like you're a woman, but I get to fuck you with the dick. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, but a strap on does not do the same thing as a dick.
No, it's not the
Like,
same.
I've never,
It's
so
not the
what
same.
what are the strap-ons like? I've never
It's just
done
like a dildo.
but it's just not the same because it's like it's
Because
just
it's like plastic. You don't feel like it pulse inside of you, like when they do the little
Or when
up
you feel like
motion
it
and
harder inside you.
Oh.
Like that is biologically ingrained in me. So I don't know. I remember in high school there was this girl who everyone thought was gay, and she was like, "I'm not gay." She came out as gay.
okay.
A couple of years ago. But I thought she was like so hot. She was like one of the boys. And I remember having this dream. And in the dream, like I was like, oh, that guy is so hot. And like they walk up to me and it was the girl. But then we started making out and I put my hands down her pants. And in the dream, she had a dick. And I was in high school. I had this dream and I was like so confused.
You're like,
so I've been
you're ahead of the time.
I've been super sexually open since I was like younger. And I just didn't have a word for it until everyone was like talking about trans stuff. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I had a lot of guy friends be open about like watching trans porn and like pegging porn and stuff.
cool.
And so I got like really into like learning about everything. And now as an adult, I'm like, I could hook up with a girl. They would just have to have a dick, you know?
That's awesome.
I think I'd rather date a trans man just because I'm so scared of talking to women. Like
Oh, really?
I
But
don't
a
know
trans
how to
man
approach.
was a woman.
But they're a man now. So it's a man. So
It
it's
is
way
a man,
easier
but-
to approach a man than it is to approach a woman.
But internally, like they still have the same thoughts of when they were a woman, wouldn't they? Like
maybe, I don't know.
I would,
But they're a man. So it's way easier. The patriarchy is like, I have to please him. Much easier than going up to a woman and being like, hey, you're beautiful. Can I touch your flower?
I would be so afraid of like disrespecting a woman and like, you know,
But I want to be disrespected.
yeah. So I think that's why I need the patriarchy. That's why I need men.
Wait, so remind me, pan is like personality, right?
Pan, sexual.
It's like, you don't care about genitals, like gender,
Okay.
anything. You just like the person.
Nice.
so pansexual means you would hook up with or date a trans person.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
But like that doesn't mean that's your only
It's
thing you're into.
exciting.
It's just like you're open to everything.
Yeah.
I care about who people are on the inside.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if not, that's everything.
Yeah.
Like that's literally everything.
But I've never hooked up with a trans person.
Well, DMs are now flooded, so
I
let's
hope
go.
so. Hit us up, ladies and
That's
fellas.
exciting. I mean, I never thought about like where the person's mindset is pre and post transition, right? Like that's a great question. You're kind of wondering is like you're both saying the opposite thing of like it's fascinating. It's just
Like you are definitely socialized as the gender you were born as.
Yeah.
But then you also, your whole life, were feeling like you weren't that gender. So while you were socialized in it, you also weren't that person.
you didn't. Yeah.
So you were always either a man or a woman or non-binary on the
Yeah.
inside. It's hard. There's so many nuances to all of this, and we're all just learning.
Yeah, I think it's so funny when people do gender reveal parties. I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. Like, no one knows till the baby's like, I'm this thing. Like, I don't know. I just think it's so insane. Like,
I think it's so weird to do that.
Gender reveal parties, you'll never catch me doing that fucking hippy dippy relationship. It's like all fucking white people and like how they have live, laugh, love posters and they all dress the same and they do I'm 3 months pregnant picture. I'm 5 months. No one gives a fuck about your baby. Like, no one gives a fuck about it. I don't care about it.
Why
Your
do you
baby
care
doesn't
what genitals your baby has?
that's what's so weird too. Like, the baby doesn't even give a fuck. Baby's like, this is so boring. Baby's like, just strangle me with the umbilical cord. Like, I don't want to be here.
Or like a
Fucking
gender
cut the
reveal
cake.
party. Like, what is anyone ever going to be like disappointed?
That's the thing.
Yes.
And also, people are so upset. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I've seen so many gender reveal parties where the father is disappointed it's a girl. I see that a lot on my TikTok. So it's like, why set yourself up for disappointment?
Because that kid's going to see that video and they're going to be
That
like, he
sucks.
didn't want me.
Yeah, that's
like he
so
didn't.
awkward. I also feel like people get so excited about like the 20-week ultrasound because that's when you decide, like, figure out is the baby okay and like what's the gender. But really, what they're actually checking, like, does your baby have a head? Are they in or outside the uterus? Like, is this going to be a feasible pregnancy? And I think people get so caught up in, oh my God, all pink shit or all blue shit. Like, I'm sure one day when I have a kid, I will be like, oh, I'm excited it's a girl. I'm sure I will identify. I'm sure I'm being a little hypocritical in that I'll be like, I'm having a girl, I'm excited, but I wouldn't make a big to-do about it, but I wouldn't do the pink bullshit. And I would always give my kid the choice, like, you know, you were born with these parts, but you can always be whatever you want. Like, that's how I think I'm going to be with my kids.
My mom forced me to be a girl and it pushed me in the opposite direction.
Really?
I was like super tomboy. We've talked about this before, but I'm very against like hormones and gender surgeries for kids. I'm like, I think you should be 18. And because I wanted to be a boy growing up. I wanted to play sports. I played with Bionicles. I played video games. I had a bowl cut.
Oh my
I
God.
dressed, looked like a boy. I've been kicked out of bathrooms, girls' bathrooms when I was a kid.
Wow.
I just liked boy shit. And then I hit puberty, and then I loved girl shit. And I'm so glad I didn't make that decision when I was 8 years old, because I would be regretting it now.
That's so
I think
true.
that I'm like also in the middle, where it's like, yeah, let your kid do whatever the fuck they want, but also why can't girls do this? Why can't boys do this? Why can't we all just have fun and just enjoy what we want to enjoy? Like, I did all the boy shit, but I never wanted to be a boy.
I was shamed
I was like,
for
I
it,
want to be
though.
a girl. Like, I know who I am, and I think there are people who also know who they are at a very young age, and they should be allowed to transition. I don't necessarily think like, they should be forced into surgery, but they should be able to transition. Who gives a fuck if your kid is naming himself a boy name or naming himself a girl name? Yeah, like, why does that matter?
But
or
then
cutting his hair short.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't care at all if they did things that was like on the outside that like, but I agree, like surgeries to young feels scary because you can't really always reverse that. But I also am like, yeah, let Nicole call herself fucking Gary and wear a train conductor outfit every day.
Oh.
I don't care about that shit. But does she want to get a fucking surgery, get rid of her boobs? Maybe have her wait and see when she's 18. How does she feel about that?
I probably would have.
That's so wild.
I probably would have like wanted to make that decision and explore it because it's more popular now. And I just don't think, I'm like very glad I didn't. I don't know, but I did hate that my mom forced being a girl on me. And like, I was like, these are just my hobbies. Like, she was like scared that I was not going to be girly. She put me in ballet and dresses and like would force me to wear dresses and force me to do all this girly shit. And I'm like, I just want to play football.
Oh,
but it's also parents like wanting to live their dreams to their kids.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you're living vicariously through your child. Just let your child do what the fuck they want.
And then they'll come back and you'll be rewarded way more because you'll have such a close relationship with them. Who cares about these
hormones? You can't even really push those until puberty. So like by the time your child's like 12, 13, they know who the fuck they are. Yeah, they know if they want to transition. They're gonna know that they were born in the wrong body. And you should let them work towards what they want to work towards.
I also think too, just nothing has to be definitive. Like having it be socially acceptable to just explore your desires and explore your hobbies and explore how you want to dress. And you don't have to make a decision right now. You don't have to choose. You could just be.
Well, I think our whole society, like, we push decisions on people. We push kids to go $200,000 into student loan debt because they have to know what they want to do when they're 17. I don't even know what I want to do 6 years after I turn 17. Like, we have to stop pushing all of that. Like, okay, you need to label yourself. You need to do this. You need to do this. Just let people take their journey. Figure it out as we go. People are so rigid nowadays, and I think a lot of it is like Western society. It's like Christianity and Catholicism made us do that, and like that's our whole society is based on religion, and it should not be.
Separation of church and state.
Yeah. Actually.
And then you talk about the divisiveness of politics right now, and that's even more putting people in boxes. Like, are you Democrat? Are you Republican? I can't date a Republican, or I can't. People that are just,
who cares?
I know.
As long as you're not like committing genocide and you don't want people to die because of the color of their skin or who they want to fuck or who they want to love, you do you.
But honestly, I'm with you on that. But I found myself being on the apps and being single like through the pandemic and after George Floyd and everything and Roe versus Wade overturned. I was asking questions that are probably way too deep for a dating app. And I had guys like that were wanting to meet up and then like ghosted me because I'd be like, well, tell me before we meet up. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? Are you pro-abortion or not abortion? And like some of those answers were not what I wanted. And I was kind of like, but let's fill you out on that. Like, where do you... And then my mom's like, you can't be like talking to these guys about all this shit before you even meet up with them. But I'm like, I don't want to go on a date with a guy that doesn't believe in my reproductive rights. I don't want to go with a guy that doesn't believe Black Lives Matter. I don't want like, so as much as it's like, doesn't matter, it also like kind of does matter nowadays a little bit because if you're trying to build a future with somebody, and raising a family, and it's just like, where do they stand? It's just a little tricky.
No, it's super important. But I also don't think that shit should be politics. That's like human rights.
Human rights.
I view that as totally separate from politics. People should have bodily autonomy over themselves. People should not be getting killed in the streets. It's well-known fact that the police came about because they were searching for enslaved people who had escaped. So the entire premise of the police is based on enslaving people, which is just morally bad.
Yeah.
Whatever politic you are, left, right, it is bad to hold people hostage and force them to work for free. That's just logic.
Yeah.
So those things I don't think should be politics. And it's like, you can be Republican and still believe in the things I believe in.
Yeah. I think.
There are like people that are like Republicans that have like Confederate flags and shit. So it's like a little
That's
bit.
the
But
shit
there are
that's scary.
Democrats in Maine that are fucking touting Trump everywhere. And I'm like, what are you guys doing?
That is true. I don't always. Yeah, that is true. That's a good reminder.
I think coming down here in Florida, because it's super right wing and like I grew up super left.
Yeah.
I used to be so angry towards the other side. There was like this you versus us type of, like I went to University of Vermont, like where Bernie Sanders lives, and
Fuck yeah, Bernie.
everyone's super progressive, and I was taking all these social justice classes, and I was so angry and upset at the world that I was like, I have to stick it to the man and fuck Republic. There's so much anger there.
Yeah.
But that's what they want.
That's what they want.
They want to divide us. They want us to put ourselves into these boxes so that we can't come together as one, because they want to keep us separate. And it's fucked up. Don't get me started.
That's good. This is an important conversation.
It is, because that all ties into comedy too.
Yeah, I kind of steer clear of all political jokes, but yeah, to your point, I don't do any politics jokes, but I do a lot about like reproductive rights and shit like that. But to your, again, I'm like, I don't even see that as like political, but I guess I do see like buckets. I do generalize that most Republicans are like, I say that because I have those in my family. It sucks. I have in my very close immediate family Republican men who don't believe in abortions, that are like, you know, pro-life. I don't even like to say pro-life, pro-choice, because like if you're pro-abortion, you're also pro-life. We just are pro-fucking real life happening now and our choices. Yeah, pro-life rights. And yeah, so I don't even like to say pro-life, pro-choice, but it's like, it's tough for me because my family, I have so many men that I love, unconditionally love, would take bullets for. And I'm like, but you have a fucking license plate that says like, you know, that are like the rosary beads, like whatever. It's like weird.
Yeah. I feel like up north, the only like right wing people I know are on the extreme. So it was really easy to like hate them and get angry because they were so extreme. Whereas like down here, because I'm around so many right-wing people, I'm like, wow, a lot of you are more normal than I thought. Like a lot of you have, like there's so many right-wing people down here who believe in abortion, who believe in like
Interesting.
a lot of like that stuff, you know what I mean? But like they might be more fiscally conservative or what, or maybe they grew up Republican, so they just think they're Republican. And I'm like, you're actually you're more in the middle or whatever, you know?
That's
and just being open to that instead of just automatically putting someone in the box and being like, I hate you because of your values, and like getting to know them.
What's like a crazy first date you've had?
Oh shit. I guess it would be this like I had two. Oh, I guess this is kind of funny. When I like was first single and was living down here for a little bit, a couple years ago, I just broken up with this like big drug addict, and I'm like, I can't wait to get like drugs out of my life. And I matched with like a DEA agent. I didn't even know he was DEA agent, Drug Enforcement Agency. And he calls me before the date, and he's like, hey, I just like, you know, like I'm going to have a gun on me. Is that going to be okay? And I'm like, I guess. Like, thanks for calling. Let me know. Like, so I'm going to bring my gun. I'm like, well, I'm going to bring my pot. So we're cool. Like, and he didn't look anything like his photos. And he was like, well, I'm undercover. No, he didn't say that. I was like thinking like, is he undercover? Because he just like used really old photos. It's kind of like a boring, it was an exciting start to the story. Because I'm like, what are the odds? First date I have since this breakup with this big drug addict is literally
a DEA agent
who's like, I got a gun on me. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to bring my pot. Like, don't stiff me down. And then like, but like the drugs that I was weaning off of from that, I mean, I never did the drugs with my ex, but he was like into like Xanax and mixing, and it was just like bad. So I was like, I gotta get away from all that. And then, but like a funnier date that was also quite sad and pretty dark was like, in Boston, like last summer, I believe, I met with a guy who was like cool. He was like a professional golfer, like from Florida, but he was in town for a weekend. So I'm like, yeah, let's meet up. And if it works out, we'll figure it out, and I had a show after that he was coming to, and I was like, yeah, you can come to the show. Like we'll meet and get drinks and food and then do the show after. And we walked to the show after. And then my mom calls me like in the middle of drinks and food with this guy. And she's like, yeah, so my great aunt was like not doing well, but like was not supposed to like go right then. And she's like, oh yeah, Suzanne's not going to make the night. I'm like, what? Like, oh my God. So as I start like crying at this fucking date, and he's like, well, should I like, what should you do? My mom's like, well, don't come back because it's like, you're not even gonna be allowed to come into the hospital anyway because it's this COVID bullshit. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll like stay on this date. But I was like, I remember he was so sweet. He's like, what can I do? And I'm like, could you just give me a hug? And like because my aunt was like my grandmother. And so he gave me this nice big hug. And then I was like, all right, let's go to the show. And the show I was doing is shout out to Comedy Party High Performance in Worcester. You got to do this show. You both should do it when you come back to Boston. Alex G and Papa, my friend, runs it. And you literally got to get high and do the show. So I'm the only comic who took it seriously. The other comics were like, no, I'm not going to get stoned. I'm just going to like, I don't know, go up there.
I get so high every time I go up.
You do. So does my friend Alex. I never smoke before I go up because I'm a real lightweight. So I love to smoke, but I smoke before bed or whatever. I don't have a big tolerance for like smoking and doing stand-up or driving. But I was like, all right, I'll fucking do it. My aunt's dying. Like I'm with this fucking first Bumble date, dude. And I get ripped out of my mind to the point I can't even read my set list. I'm like, it's all the words are mixing. This guy was so cute. He like didn't even smoke. He's like a pro golfer. He's like, my brother taught me how to like, he could barely like grind. And he like had this doggy bag of stuff. So he like jumped right in. I'm like, cool. All right, let's fucking do this. And I get up there and I'm like, let's pour one out for my aunt. And I just like, I'm stoned. I'm on a first date. My aunt's dying. And then I like quickly end the show. I book it to the hospital. And my mom's like, you reek of like a brewery and like a fucking distillery. Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. But it was definitely like interesting to kind of do the show under the guise of like, there's my date and my aunt's dying and I'm super fucking stoned. So I guess that's my best first date story.
I love that. That sounds like a lot of my first dates,
Right?
bringing people to shows because I was fucked up or high and like there was always shit going on and they're like is this girl okay? And I'm like, it's fun. This is what the whole rest of our life will be like.
Why do you think she's on stage? She's not okay.
You're like, sign up now. Like, let's do this. Oh, that's fun.
I'm just getting started.
That's fun. Yes, you get high every time. I can't do it.
Yeah, I think because I get
You must
nerves.
have a good tolerance. Do you have a good tolerance for it?
Yeah, I get nerves. So like if I have high anxiety, that anxiety causes my brain to shut down. I think it's from like living in flight or fight for so long. I like lose my short-term memory, and so I will forget. That's when I asked you, like, do you blank out on stage ever? I literally think my trauma causes my brain to go blank. Like I can't recall memories. I can't recall what I did last week with Emily. Like a lot of that stuff sometimes if I'm just like so busy. So by me smoking a little weed before I go on stage, it allows me to like calm down, and now I'm here and it slows everything down for me.
That's good.
The issue is when I get too high that it like exacerbates the anxiety.
How do you find that fine line? Because that's where I always end up. I will always go, this sounds like a good idea, and they'll do it, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm all blah, 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 and I'm like,
I find
you
the line
have to get to blah 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 blah, and then you figure out the line.
I find the line when I get
from
there.
okay.
Sometimes I'm like, fuck, I got too high.
What strain do you do? Because do you do an upper, or do you always
Girl,
do?
we buy from the streets.
Okay. What does that mean?
So you think we know
I
what
did the
strain we get?
Oh, I don't know.
I did like a mic at the
Two girls
Hollywood.
on Blood. I thought you had like a whole like closet up here. This that.
If we're in LA, I was doing that week I did Jeff Ross's show in LA. I did a couple mics before and I was at the Hollywood Improv and there's a dispensary right next to it. Nice. And so I went in there and I grabbed a sativa that was it was like euphoric. It's for creative thinking and focusing your mind. And it worked. And I smoked that before I got on and things were just coming to me. I was like, this is great. I got like a 5 pre-roll pack and I was just like took a couple hits
of just one joint
of one like small half joint, took a couple hits. It was enough where I felt it and I was like, wow, I'm calm.
Good.
And my brain is working fast. And then there's times where I've taken a couple of hits and I'm like, I'm I'm sinking into the couch. Like my brain
Right.
is non-existent, and we just have to laugh this off, and hopefully the audience is willing to laugh with me. I think it's fine when you go up as a comedian who's a stoner and like your brand is being a stoner, but my comedy brand's not being a stoner. Our podcast brand is.
Right.
So like people aren't expecting me to just like, I'm not like, hey, what's up, dudes? Like, where's my car? Like, I'm so high.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like,
I feel like that's just like my personal brand. Like who I am as a person is just a stoner.
yeah.
So I think that's how I'm going to be. I'm going to operate that way everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, well, we'll go into business meetings high.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Smoke at business meetings.
Wait, that's great.
It's very nice.
That
We
is
just
nice.
had one with a dispensary down here, and Emily goes, "We're gonna smoke there." I'm like hitting the bong as we're leaving, and I'm like, This is the fucking pregame." I was like, "Yeah, if in case we don't smoke there, I want to be high for this." So we get in there, he's like talking to us, and he's like, "You guys are great," and I'm like, "Thanks, dude. I'm high right now." And that, like, usually you would think that's so not professional, but I'm like, it's our brand, so it is
Yeah.
professional.
That's
That's who we are.
That's so true. My thing is though, if I get too stoned and then I drive, I like overanalyze the driving, and I'm like, like I've got so stoned after shows at you mentioned the haha. I did the haha a few weeks ago, and then I hit my buddy, my comic buddy is like trying to do a couple hits of that. I had like one drink, and I'm like, I'm gonna go home. I live in West Hollywood. I'm driving. And I'm like, oh my God, the cars are coming at me. And I'm going so slow. Everyone's speeding around me, honking. And I'm like, this is crazy that we drive in real life. Like, I was so psyched out that isn't that nutty? It's like such a nerd thing to admit. But I was like,
No.
I can't really smoke and drive that well because I don't know. I tizzy out. I'm just like,
Tizzy
the car's
out.
coming at me. Like, oh my God. I'm like, where I'm on the highway, but I'm going like 40.
I think I have to smoke to drive.
I hate
Really?
driving in LA. The roads confuse me. They're scary. I was driving on shrooms in LA, and it looks
How
like
do you
the
drive
whole-
under the influence?
I'm just good at
You're
what
good
I do.
at it.
I'm
You're good at
what
it.
I remember
do.
one time
You
we
never
were
get
going to
anxious?
a party like
No,
a
I
half
do.
hour away. And we always like smoke and drive. And so we were like smoking on the way. And then my friend, I've never done acid before,
Me neither.
goes, "Open your mouth." And I didn't know what she was doing. And she puts half a tab of acid in my mouth as we're driving. And I'm like, she's
As you're driving?
like, we're like 10 minutes away from this place.
We were
She's
very
like,
close. But
Okay,
it doesn't
okay.
hit for like 45
Oh,
minutes. So
okay,
we're,
cool.
we
you're
get
good,
to
you're
this
good.
party and the acid hits for the first time. And I'm like, bro, we have to go. We're all on acid now.
I was on shrooms.
Oh, she was on shrooms. Everyone else, I'm on shrooms and acid. And
That's
I'm
the
like, I
moneymaker.
have to drive home. Like, I'm microdosing shrooms, so everything's just like focused and bright and like the colors are nice.
Yeah.
But then the acid's hitting, and I'm like, we have to go home. So I'm driving, and I was like, everyone's like, this is the best you've driven ever. And I'm like, I'm so focused. Like, I see the road. I'm driving straight. Like, this was the best drive home ever.
Really?
I just had to wing it.
So it worked, but why did you have to leave?
Allegedly.
Why did you have to leave? Because the acid was hitting.
Because it's if you're ever like in a weird situation and you're on psychedelics and like people aren't vibing with you, you're just like, I gotta remove myself from this before the trip takes over.
Yeah.
You know, get
Oh,
yourself out of the weird situation.
Smart.
yeah. I was like, I'm too on acid to be here right now. We
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go home.
You did say that to the host of the party.
I did. I was like, I gotta go.
I think I
Like,
also
I
was
just
like, she's
arrived.
on acid. We gotta go, man.
And they were like, that's fine. We're all on shrooms. And I was like, I'm glad you understand, brother.
You're like, see ya.
We walked in and they were like, do you guys want shrooms? I was like, yes, please give me more drugs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
a good
I'd
time.
rather like microdose shrooms than drink any day.
I think I was talking to you about that after the comedy show,
I've
wasn't
never
I?
done shrooms either. I'm such a fucking square.
I'm gonna give you half of a
Wait, do you want a gummy?
It's
It's
like,
like a shroom gummy?
one gummy is like a quarter of a gram.
It'll just make you feel happy.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
like
you'll
a
go hang out with
tiny
your
rub.
cousins. You'll have a great time.
If you're staying in, if you're not driving, take it after.
Maybe
like,
after
take it when
I
you get there.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
It'll hit you like a half hour later.
Oh,
Have a
that's
glass of wine.
fun.
You'll be feeling
A
great.
shroom gummy?
It's a gummy. Yeah.
It looks like a multivitamin
Basically,
gummy.
like picture all these colors. So when you're on it, you'll look at me, and everything's kind of blurry behind me, but I'm in high def,
it's like
you're
cinematic mode.
cinematic mode on a
your
camera.
eyes.
Wow.
But it's with your eyes, and then all the colors are a little brighter, and then you just feel good. Like that's what it would be.
Okay.
I was for Jamie's birthday party. I was on shrooms and acid, and everybody was freaking out and like yelling at me because like somebody stole 2 ounces of weed from Jaime. Yeah, on her birthday. And
Yeah,
I
those
was
fuckers.
freaking out and they were screaming at me. They were like, Emily, what happened to the weed? I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I was just cleaning up after the party. And then I look at Jaime and she's like super in focus and I couldn't stop staring at her, but her brother was yelling at me and I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. And I have to go.
It's a lot of that sometimes. We were on more shrooms than what we would give you, though.
Oh, yeah. Way more shrooms.
All right. Well, this was great. What
Thanks
a
for
great
coming
combo.
on.
I'm glad we learned so much about each other.
Hopefully we get to see you next time we're in LA.
Oh yeah, if you said the end of the month.
Probably, yeah.
So end of May. I mean, I should be there then. That'd be so fun to hang.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yay.
That'd be a blast.
You can come by that creator house. We just got the call for it was Bryce Hall's old house.
Definitely.
So that'll be fun. They're building a podcast studio there, and
Would you guys
cool.
be there for Memorial Day weekend? Because like Manhattan Beach parties, that's where we're gonna be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and my buddy runs a couple of really fun shows there. Dano Carter, shout out to Dano. And that could be a fun time. I mean, Drew's gonna be out there then too. We're gonna be
hell
like
yeah.
hanging. Yeah.
I think the last week of May. I think
Well, that's pretty much like Memorial Day weekend. Like that's let me see.
That is Memorial Day.
Memorial Day is like the 26th, 27th, or
Hopefully we're here the 25th.
oh yeah.
Does that say cunt on your phone?
Oh yeah.
I like that.
I love that.
It's my friend's.
I love the word cunt.
Me too.
too.
It's
That's a great word.
word.
It's very Australian.
Any closing remarks?
I had a blast. I gotta get on your level of drug tolerance.
Hey, well, you're on the Two Girls One Blunt podcast.
Yeah. This is fun. Thanks for
Maybe we
having
could take
me.
a bong hit after.
I
She has a
would
drive.
like
She's
to
like, I gotta drive.
I'm like, I would, but I'm like such a pussy about it. Like I did bring a joint. I could take a few hits of my joint, and then I could drive.
There we go.
Yeah,
We'll do that
Just
after.
like
I could
two
do that.
hits.
I could do that. I could do that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Where can everyone find you, and what shows do you have for the last half of May that people could go
Beginning
to?
of June.
The beginning of June, because that's when this will come out.
Oh, perfect. Actually, I'm doing a fun show. Like I'm doing some Boston shows actually, June 6th and like Jamaica Plain, and then I'm doing like then doing a show in New York City, June 10th.
Oh, fun.
And what's that theater? Oh, I don't have any of the details written down. But and then I'm headlining New World Tavern in Plymouth, Mass, June 15th.
Oh,
And then I think I'm doing another random thing.
you're all over the
I'm
world.
doing Portsmouth, I think June 16th. Or no, Quincy. My bad.
Wait,
Probably best
Quincy.
Oh, yeah.
Quincy,
I
baby.
lived in Quincy.
Oh, hell yeah. I think probably best to just follow me on Instagram, please, at Janelle Jokes or Janelle Draper. Yeah. that's
Hell
where
yeah.
I post all my shit. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you
Perfect.
so much for
Thanks
coming
for having
on.
me. This was a blast.
This has been great.
This has been so.
I feel like it was like a therapy session.
I know. I feel so like aligned with you guys.
I love it.
Relaxed.
We just feel good. We're vibing. It's all good vibes here on Two
Hell
Girls
yeah.
One Blunt. But
most of the time.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it. Make sure to leave us a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out, guys, if you do that and you engage with us. And we've been getting more DMs about everyone's like advice and stuff,
Which is really nice to hear.
It is. So like if we're gonna start an advice column soon after we get a couple of like DMs in. So just make sure you guys DM us if you have any advice. And we'll catch you next fucking week, you filthy stoners.
We love you.
Love you.
Bye.